You walk into the room, you've prepared for days, practiced answers, rehearsed your strengths, even smiled in the mirror. But once the interview starts, something feels off. Their eyes scan you like a checklist. Their questions feel cold. You answer politely, try to stay confident, but you can feel it. The power isn't in your hands. That's the trap most people fall into. They think interviews are about being correct, or impressive, or likable. But the truth is, interviews are subtle power games. And if you don't know how to manage that power, you'll always walk out wondering why you didn't leave a deeper impression. Today, you'll learn something most people never teach. Dark psychological hacks that shift the power dynamic quietly in your favor. No manipulation, no tricks, just deep psychological control applied with calm presence. These aren't surface-level tips. They're silent tools that help you guide the room without trying too hard, without looking desperate, and without losing your own ground. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly how to carry yourself, how to answer questions with authority, and how to leave the room with them thinking, this person doesn't just fit the job, they lead it. Let's begin. Trick 1. Shift the frame before they do. Before a single word is spoken, there's already a frame in the room. You're the one being evaluated. They're the one with the power. This is the silent contract most people accept without realizing it. But here's what most candidates never understand. The most powerful person in the room is not always the one sitting on the other side of the table. It's the one who controls the frame. When you walk into an interview, your body language, your first sentence, and even your silence, all of it communicates something. And in the first few seconds, the frame is either set by them or by you. People often try too hard. They oversmile. They rush to speak. They act overly thankful. These behaviors may seem polite, but psychologically, they signal one thing: low status. Let's imagine this. If someone walks into a room shaking hands too eagerly and saying, "Thank you so much for having me. I've been really hoping for this opportunity," what they're really saying is, "Please accept me." Now imagine someone else. They walk in calmly, make solid eye contact, nod gently, and say, "It's good to meet you. I've been looking forward to this conversation." Their voice is level, no fake smile, no rush. That person just shifted the frame. They didn't try to dominate. They simply neutralized the imbalance. It's no longer, "You're here to prove yourself." It becomes, "We're here to see if this fit makes sense for both sides." This is not about arrogance. It's about removing the invisible desperation that most interviewers can sense immediately. People who understand dark psychology know one simple truth. Power is never taken by force in social settings. It's taken through unshakable calm. An unshakable calm only comes from being deeply secure in your value. So how do you shift the frame practically? 1. Before you speak, observe. Let there be a few seconds of silence when you enter. Let your eyes move naturally around the room. This tells them you're not rushing to please. 2. Match their energy. Don't exceed it. If they're calm, be calm. If they're warm, respond warmly, but never more than them. Always 90%, never 110%. That keeps you controlled. 3. Use neutral language. Say things like, "I'm glad we're having this conversation. I've been interested to learn more about this role." These are collaborative statements, not submissive ones. 4. Hold space. Don't over-explain your background in your introduction. Let them ask. People who talk too much in the beginning feel nervous, not confident. These micro-adjustments signal something deep. You are not seeking permission to belong. If someone shifts the frame at the start, the entire interview unfolds differently. Their answers sound deliberate. Their pauses feel controlled. Their energy doesn't feel like it's reacting. It feels like it's leading. This is why top performers in interviews often say less, but make more impact. They don't fall into the psychological trap of trying to prove everything up front. They let their energy do the talking first. And they guide the conversation on equal footing. In dark psychology, shifting the frame is one of the most subtle but powerful tools in your arsenal. And once you learn how to hold yourself from the very first second, they won't just hear what you're saying, they'll feel who you are, and they'll remember you long after the interview ends. Trick 2. Disarm with quiet certainty. There's a tension most people feel before an interview. It's not just nervousness, it's the fear of being figured out. The fear that if you speak too much or too little, they'll find a flaw. And that fear makes people try too hard. They overshare, they laugh too loud, they nod too quickly. And in trying to prove their worth, they silently say one thing: "I'm not enough unless you approve of me." But here's the shift. The most powerful people in the room never speak to gain approval. They speak to provide clarity. That's the difference between noise and presence. This trick is about using quiet certainty, a subtle, grounded tone that makes people trust you without needing to ask why. When you speak from a place of quiet certainty, you don't try to impress, you deliver. Your energy says, I know who I am, and I'm not here to perform. It's not arrogance, it's the absence of nervous proof. Here's how it works. When the interviewer asks you a question, don't rush. Most people respond in under a second, just to fill silence. But that panic creates a downward spiral. Instead, allow 1 to 2 seconds of calm before you answer. That small pause sends a deep subconscious signal. I'm not threatened, I'm thoughtful. Next, keep your voice low and steady, not robotic, just deliberate. If someone asks, what's your biggest weakness? The insecure will dodge, joke, or over-explain. But someone using quiet certainty might say, in the past, I found myself overcommitting because I wanted to exceed expectations. I've learned that real impact comes from focused execution, not doing everything at once. There's no apology in that tone. There's awareness. It's not loud, but it's grounded. And grounding is power. If someone does this in a real interview, here's what happens. The room shifts. The interviewer starts leaning in. Their voice softens. They feel like they're speaking to someone who already has value, not someone trying to chase it. And if you're wondering if you should smile or keep a poker face, just relax. Quiet certainty includes warmth, but it's not theatrical. It's the kind of presence that feels clear, not needy. When people feel that clarity, they respect it. When they respect it, they trust you. Now let's talk about rejection. Sometimes people say, but what if I'm too quiet and they don't like me? That's a symptom of approval addiction. Quiet certainty isn't about silence. It's about not shrinking. You're not reducing yourself. You're anchoring yourself. That's why it feels powerful. If someone interviews 5 candidates and 4 of them speak too fast, oversell, and laugh nervously, and one speaks slowly, stays grounded, and answers with calm ownership, guess who stands out? Not the one who tried the hardest, the one who wasn't trying at all. This trick isn't about pretending to be calm, it's about building calm into your speech. You do that by pausing before speaking, speaking slightly slower than others, letting your voice drop instead of rise at the end of sentences, holding eye contact without staring and not reacting when things get uncomfortable. All these actions say one thing without words: I trust myself. That's what people want to hire. Not the loudest, not the funniest, not even the most experienced. They want the one who walks in already believing they belong there. So the next time you step into a room where you feel judged, don't rush to change their mind. Just be the calmest person in the room, because calm isn't the opposite of fear. It's what fear bows to. Trick 3. Silent authority. There's something strange that happens in interviews. The louder person often feels in control, the one who fills silence, who keeps talking, who always has an answer. But the truth is, in real power dynamics, it's often the one who speaks less and listens better, who leads the room. This is what we call silent authority. Silent authority is not about being quiet. It's about letting your presence carry more weight than your words. It's about creating an atmosphere where the other person leans in, not because you're performing, but because you're centered. Most candidates go into interviews trying to impress. They list accomplishments, they laugh politely, they over-communicate to avoid awkward silence. But the person with silent authority does something else. They pause, they think before they speak, and when they speak, they don't rush. They use fewer words, but those words hit deeper. If someone walks into an interview and fills every second with their voice, they may seem eager, but not grounded. But if someone sits across the table and stays calm in silence, answers with intention, and doesn't feel the need to prove anything, here's what happens. The interviewer starts to pay attention. They start to listen harder. They ask more questions. Why? Because you're not reacting. You're commanding the moment. This doesn't mean being cold or robotic. Silent authority means being aware of how you move, how you breathe, how you look at the other person. A calm nod, a pause before answering, a soft but clear tone. These create tension, the good kind, the kind that makes the other person wait to hear what comes next. You don't need to interrupt or dominate to lead. You need to hold your space with quiet confidence. Most people are uncomfortable with silence, but when you master it, silence becomes your weapon. It makes people listen longer. It makes your words sound more powerful because they're surrounded by stillness. Here's how you practice it. 1. Slow your pace. When you walk into the room, don't rush to greet. Set your things down calmly. Breathe. Make eye contact, not too long, just enough to anchor. 2. Let silence stretch. After a question, pause for 1 or 2 seconds before answering. It shows you're thinking. It makes them respect your process. 3. Lower your voice slightly. People lean in to hear. That physical reaction alone changes the energy. 4. Drop the filler words. Like, you know. These dilute your authority. Replace them with breath. In a world of noise, silence has power. In a room where everyone is trying to speak louder, the one who speaks softly, but with precision, changes the temperature of the space. If someone uses this trick right, this is what happens. The interviewer will say less and observe more. They'll shift from evaluating to trying to figure you out. And the moment someone is curious about you, they're already leaning your way. Silent authority makes people feel your presence. It tells them you're not desperate to be liked. You're not here to chase approval. You're here to decide if this opportunity fits you. Power doesn't come from what you say. It comes from how you hold yourself when you're not saying anything at all. Let the silence speak for you. That's where the real power hides. Final words. Some people go into interviews trying to prove something, but those who understand dark psychology don't try to impress. They shift the energy. They observe. They speak less, but with purpose. They read the room before trying to be seen, and that's why they get chosen. In this video, you've learned how emotional hooks, controlled body language, and silent authority aren't just tricks. They're psychological tools. Tools that let you walk into an interview and change how people feel about you without ever forcing anything. Mastering the interview isn't about being perfect. It's about being intentional, calm, unshakable. And when you begin to carry that presence, others feel it before you even speak. Don't just prepare answers. Prepare your energy, prepare your pauses, prepare your silence. Because the ones who own the room don't chase it. If this message spoke to something real in you, then this channel is for you. Subscribe for more, but only if you're ready to master what most people never even notice.